Hi, I hope this video finds you well, and I hope that chapter 1 of going over the book Spiritual Springboard, which you can find on Amazon if you want to follow along with the book. It also gives you a lot of stories of confirmation, which are very beneficial to let you see what happened to myself and others who started using these tools. But I hope that chapter 1 gave you enough curiosity to open your mind to a new possibility about God and a new possibility of what He wants to do in your life, and even a new possibility of who you are. Because when we have that open mind, then Spirit is really able to show out in our lives and really able to come to our assistance and guide us. That's what chapter 2 is about, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Chapter 2 is talking about recognizing Spirit. Now, a lot of us don't stop to consider that we are a spiritual being living an earthly existence. And I know I never stopped to actually think about that, and no one ever really told me about that until I met Twyla, my neighbor, who turned into my spiritual mentor one night at 3 a.m. when I was in this state of despair. She flips on her light, invites me over, and starts pouring all this information into me that I, quite frankly, never learned in church. And it made such a huge difference to me. And she's reminded me about me being a spiritual being. And she said, you have this whole spiritual team available to you. And this spiritual team has been working with you as they can, but until you begin to start recognizing them and acknowledging them, you limit what they can do for you, because God has given us free will choice, and Spirit isn't allowed to interfere too much in our lives unless we begin to ask. They can help us somewhat, but the more we open ourselves up to asking, the more they're able to come in, because the Bible says, ask and you shall receive. It's the same thing. Now, if you are kind of wondering, well, I don't know if I'm a spiritual being, I'm going to tell you that the Spirit has been trying to get your attention for a long time, but maybe you just haven't recognized it. Let me give you some examples. Have you ever thought of someone out of the blue, maybe someone you hadn't seen for a while, and then the next day they call you, or you run into them at the grocery store? That's Spirit. Have you ever had a gut intuition about something telling you that you needed to do something, and then once you did it, it was like this marvelous outcome? That's Spirit. Have you ever had a stroke of genius? Like, I'm going to say, like something came to you for like a presentation at work, or maybe you just had this creative flow of drawing or writing, or a song, maybe a song or a poem just came out of nowhere, and you were like, hardly any thought or hardly any effort, it just kind of flowed out of you. That's an example of Spirit. Have you ever felt maybe like a warning about something, and you heeded the warning, and then, it made you recognize that maybe because of that, it prevented something bad from happening? That would be another example of Spirit. The cool thing is that Spirit has always been around us and is always trying to help us and get our attention. But we just don't maybe have the awareness, or maybe haven't recognized how it's trying to help us because we're just too busy. That's one of the things that happens. But we live in a cool time now that science and is able to really prove this spiritual part of ourselves, and it's been able to actually record this energy that is running through our body, that surrounds our whole body, and is like, it's there without like a lot of explanation, but we know that it's there. It's kind of like the Bible says, you are a light. So they're able to record and pick up on that light now. And most of us have seen television shows about the ghost and the paranormal, and how now, because as technology advances, they can actually prove those things are out in the world. That's all spiritual stuff. And it's really kind of cool that now we're able to actually have some scientific proof of the things that the Bible kind of has always shared with us, but maybe a lot of people were in question about that because there was no proof. So science has really been beneficial in helping us maybe move from a belief into more of an experience, or at least helping us open our mind up to a new possibility of this whole spiritual realm. Now, the big part about this chapter is, like I said, is being able to recognize the spirit that is trying to help you every day. And there are a few ways that we hinder spirit from actually helping us. I just want to go over those real quickly. Number one, if we don't ask, they cannot help us as much as we want them to. So that's number one. Number two is doubting. If we doubt that spirit is able to help us in a situation, then doubt just stops the flow of spirit. So, and of course, all of us doubt, but we're going to get to a place of experience where the experiences are going to eliminate that doubt. So doubt is the second thing that hinders us. Another one is forcing the outcome ourselves. A lot of times we let our ego get in the way, and we try to force an outcome that we want instead of what is for our highest good. Spirit always answers in what is for our highest good. So we have to be able to be more in a place of surrender to what spirit is wanting to do in our lives, instead of being controlling about how we think things should go down. And then lastly, it's gratitude. If we don't pause and thank spirit for what they're doing in our lives, then that also stops the flow of spirit from helping us. If we take as an example, if we take all the credit for one of those genius moments instead of giving the glory to the spiritual realm, that just hinders our spirit. I know a lot of times I was an athlete, and if you've ever been an athlete, there are certain times you get in what they call the zone. And if you've ever been in the zone, that is the flow of spirit. I mean, it's kind of like you can do no wrong. But when you're in the zone, if you don't recognize that that's like a higher power taking over, or you're in that spiritual realm, it limits you from, it kind of makes you egotistical, and then it limits the zone from coming more into your space more often than what it does. So those are the things that will hinder spirit from working in your life. So just kind of take note of those as we go through the first exercise, and the simple tool that Twyla taught me to get me to start experiencing this spiritual realm for myself. Now, some of you may have had wild experiences where you've maybe seen a ghost, or maybe when you were a kid you had a spiritual playmate. But for the most of us, we haven't had those experiences. So we are going to start asking spirit to give us some experience. And we're going to start with the little things. And the reason we're going to start with something little is because when we ask for something little, it's easier to have doubt removed. If we start asking for this grand, big scheme of things right out of the get-go without much experience, it's hard to get rid of the doubt. So we're going to start small. And some of the things Twyla started with me small were, she would just say, the next time you're like cooking dinner and you need a jar open and the lid won't pop off, she said, pause and ask for spirit's help. And I'll tell you, I started with that simple tool. And I remember I would ask for spirit's help, and I would twist that jar and it wouldn't come off, and I'd end up beating it like I normally do, and then eventually it would open. But it took me some time to eliminate the doubt in my mind as to whether or not Spirit would help me, because I don't know why I had so much doubt about that, but still. But I remember it took about 10 times, and on the 10th time, I finally relinquished the idea of, any kind of doubt, and just relaxed more into my request, and with ease that jar popped off. And then from there on out, as long as I was relaxed in my mind about it, it would pop off and pop off and pop off. And I remember sometimes, even after it popped off quite a lot of times, I remember I would ask for its help, and I'm like, is this really going to work again? And then it wouldn't work. So doubt is that thing that gets in the way. So start with something small like that, or something small like when you misplace a set of keys to find some car keys, or here's a good one. If you want a parking place up front at the grocery store or wherever you're going, ask for Spirit to help you get a parking place, and you'll be amazed, as once you get rid of that doubt, there's always a parking place right up there right up there in the front. It could be like the parking lot could be jammed, and there could be 15 people trying to get in there, but right as you round the corner, someone will back out, and then there's your spot. So just start small. But I will tell you, once you see Spirit, following through on your request, be sure to thank them. Just, you can just thank you. Thank you for the parking spot. Thank you for opening that lid. Thank you for helping me find those keys. Because again, if we're not in gratitude, we stop the flow of Spirit. That's the big thing for lesson 2. And that's the challenge for you this week, is to start asking Spirit for help. And as Spirit starts responding to you, please, whether you watch this video today, tomorrow, a week from now, a month from now, a year from now, please post in the comments what happened, so that people who are on this journey with us can be encouraged, and they can see, oh man, that happened for them. Well, maybe it'll happen for me. So I just encourage you to, put down in the comments and tell the story about what happened for you as Spirit started interacting with you and helping you with your life. So that's it for chapter 2. Have some fun. It's so fun when you start playing with Spirit. You're going to enjoy it. And later in the week, I'm going to put up another little video showing you how I asked Spirit for something kind of unusual, and how you can do it too. And when you see the results, it is going to blow you away, because it's just so just shows how much you're cared about, and how much you're loved, and how much Spirit wants to interact with you. Because when I show you this, you're going to go, why is she doing that? And then when you see it happen, it's going to be mind-blowing. You go, wow, that's cool. So I'm going to show you that. And then also I'm going to add in some stories of confirmation for you, because I just wanted to let you know what happened to me and some of my friends and family as they started using these tools. Because again, it just gives you that help to remove some doubt, because we're all spiritual beings. Spirit is for all of us. It loves all of us just as we are. You're worthy. You're just as worthy as I am. The person, that's homeless on the street is just as worthy as anyone else to receive help from Spirit. So have fun with this, and watch for a few more videos. And by all means, make some comments and even ask questions if you need to. Take care. Bye.